be a little background on this. I was sent a human interest story that is one to be told here, and that's why we're doing this right now. It has to do with a FDNY captain over 7 decades ago who responded to a 5-alarm blaze in Long Island City. A massive blaze, by the way. It was brought under control. No apparent casualties. However, in the following days, the captain, Hans Meister, fell ill. And 5 days after that blaze, after that fire, he passed away. He had served in the FDNY, ladies and gentlemen, for a shade under 24 years, just short of the necessary time to have his family qualify for a survivor's pension from the FDNY. His widow and his kids denied that pension. His death not considered to have been in the line of duty, a position the FDNY continues to maintain. However, you know, we've had so many advances in forensic medicine. The cause of death has been ascertained, and that Captain Meister died from what they call acute respiratory distress syndrome. It's a result of the smoke and the heat that he inhaled while firefighting. And I'd like to bring in my very special guest on this, the Honorable Edward McCarty III, former justice, by the way, of the New York State Supreme Court and presently of counsel over at Vishnick Govern Malizio LLP. And by the way, representing the family, I might add, pro bono. So it's a very passionate and very emotional case. And we welcome the former Justice of the New York State Supreme Court, Edward McCarty. Sir, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having us and for having me, and also for bringing to the attention of the people of Long Island this extraordinarily compelling story.
I read it, and I made a phone call, and it took me all but 45 seconds to see if we can line you up. And it's one of those stories that really kind of makes you think here. And the fact that Captain Meister, with all the years he put in, risking his life and everything else to save others, couldn't really get his due at the specific time. And again, you know, we should point out that the family, am I correct in saying this, Judge, and the fact that the family really, and they deserve so much, they're not really seeking a pension, money's owed, or any monetary type compensation. All they want is justice, right? As far as his good name is concerned. Am I correct in saying that?
Jay, you couldn't be more correct. It's a curious thing that if you sit down and do all those math equations that you learned in college, that you would quickly come to the fact that if the Meisner family had been given the financial due which they had, the money that they would be entitled to, they would be in excess of $1,100,000. But they are in no way wish to gain any remuneration from this event, and all they want is their grandfather's name to be placed on the wall of his brothers, and I call them brothers because that's what they are, who have died both before and after he died in 1943.
Unbelievable. And think about that. It is amazing. And you're talking about something that occurred 77 years ago to Captain Meister here, a guy who was just doing his job, daily basis. Alarm rings at the firehouse. Guess what? Equipment goes on the truck, and there you go. And that to hopefully not only put out a fire and save lives, but lo and behold, risks are put upon these individuals on an everyday basis, including their own health. And that's what happened here. And I guess, as time goes on, Judge, technology does too, and you're able to kind of decipher in a medical sense when these various illnesses are revealed, what one might have gone through. And in this case, it certainly revealed what it was as far as the captain was concerned.
Yeah, he suffered from what is now recognized as ARDS. That is acute respiratory distress syndrome. Curiously, it kills a large number of people. Even during this corona epidemic, people go into respiratory arrest followed by cardiac arrest, and that's a form of the ARDS syndrome, which he suffered from. He went to the fire, we'll call it on day 1, and was fine day 2, developed a significant cough day 3 and 4, went into respiratory and cardiac arrest on day 5. A classic case. I have an advisory board of physicians, pathologists, as well as cardiologists. And when we all reviewed the file, there was no question whatsoever that that Captain Meister died of ARD, acute respiratory distress disorder. Most interesting, however, is the fire department that takes the position, or has taken the position, that they are not going to overrule a decision made in 1943. But we, under Freedom of Information Act, have every document that the fire department ever reviewed in 1943, and we find that there was no review. There was no documentation within the fire department, nor on his official personnel file, that his death was ever reviewed. It merely is an oversight. And it's time that, quite frankly, we're just working with the fire department. I like to think we're working with them to bring justice to one of their members.
No question. So, Judge, where are we at right now? We have the diagnosis, the revelation of what an individual of Captain Meister could go through. Where do we stand, and when do we get a resolution to all of this, if any? Where are we at in time with this?
What we've done is this. I have completed a 20-page detailed, and working with my advisory committee, both doctors and FDNY retired personnel, and we've come up with the conclusion that he died in this fire. We have now submitted this report to the fire department for their review. Hopefully, we would like to think that the fire department will say, and my telephone will ring 2 weeks from now, that we've reviewed it, and yes, this man did die from ARD. He died in the line of duty, and we will put his name there. But pending that, we have to bring an action in Supreme Court in Kings County, because that's where fire headquarters is located, compelling them to do what they should do. It's called an Article 78 action. In essence, it says, government, you're not doing something which you should do. Please do it. And we have a judge to order that if necessary. But that's time and expense. And we just want to have the fire department because we're part of them and we're working with them. I myself am the son of a deceased New York City fire chief. We understand the brotherhood in the fire department, and we want to work with them in order to bring his name to where it should be.
And while you were revealing that to us, Judge, I couldn't help but think of our first responders, especially during 9/11, and what they went through, and what they continue to go through, and how individuals get in front of committees to tell their case and to shed more light and to make sure that there is compensation for family members. There is a correlation of that with what Captain Meister went through. It should not be a ping pong match that keeps going on and on here. There has to be some sort of resolution based on what I just said.
You are absolutely correct. And your fervor is ours also. 9/11 was an important event for firefighting because it recognized not only for firefighters but people who were exposed to the smoke and the gases that were expelled from the collapse of the towers, that people will develop cancers, will develop heart disease, will have injuries that do not manifest themselves at the fire. Finally, the fire department is recognizing that, and so is society. So people like Hans Meister, who died clearly within 5 days of his exposure to this fire, will be recognized.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Captain Meister was a victim of the time, basically. He was a victim, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. 77 years ago, roughly 1943, do the math, okay? There wasn't the technology and the knowledge from a medical sense of what we have right now. Therefore, we need to get everybody into the 21st century type of thinking here. With all the knowledge and everything else that we have ascertained over the years, over these decades, we need to figure out, and we need, if not to compensate, to make sure that this individual did not die in vain. The fact is, he risked his life. He risked everything. And that is his daily job, as I mentioned, to save lives. And that's what it was about. And the court should wake up. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
You couldn't be more correct in your observations of this. And this is one of my little pro bono projects with this. Clearly, Captain Meister died at the fire. But there are literally scores of others who we don't know who died of cancer and heart disease while fighting fires, and because of the damages to their health because of fighting fires. We at the Vishnick Law Firm believe that what we're going next to do is to get a little plaque for them, a little name tag, which will say, known but to God. And this is for all those firemen, 1900, 1910, 1920, who died under the same circumstances that Captain Meister did, who will never be known, but they're known but to God.
Your end as well. Think about those families, even prior to 1943. And, to my knowledge, fires still took place, folks. Okay? Still took place way back in time. 1920, the Chicago blaze. Think about that. Way back, the Chicago fire. Listen, this is all very real. And it could set, Judge McCarty, it could set a precedent with what comes out of this. Think about going back in time, a precedent to be set, and resolutions to be put in place for all of those families, even prior to 1943, as far as what could come out of this. Very important.
Known but to God, Jay. Known but to God.
Incredible. Will you keep us posted, please, on this? Fascinating story. And we'll keep an eye on it as well with Hans Meister and the great Meister family. The Honorable Edward McCarty III, former Justice, ladies and gentlemen, of the New York State Supreme Court, presently of counsel over at Vishnick, McGovern, Milizio, LLP. And I might add, representing the Meister family pro bono. Well done, sir. Can't thank you enough for your time, and we look forward to the next time with some good news.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. There you go. Told you, that was a story. That was a big story. And we will stay on top of that.